Ultra-processed diets pose particularly serious risks for adults over 50 because this stage of life is already marked by declining metabolic resilience, slower hormonal responses, and a natural reduction in muscle mass. When highly processed foods dominate the diet at this age, the consequences are not just incremental, they are amplified. What may have been manageable in earlier decades becomes far more damaging after midlife, when the body's capacity to buffer metabolic shocks is weakened. Insulin sensitivity falls more sharply, cholesterol profiles worsen, and inflammation accelerates in ways that directly contribute to chronic disease and faster biological aging. One of the earliest and most dangerous effects appears in insulin sensitivity. After age 50, the body naturally becomes less efficient at handling glucose due to changes in muscle tissue, hormonal shifts, and reduced mitochondrial activity. Ultra-processed foods intensify this decline by flooding the bloodstream with rapidly digestible sugars and refined carbohydrates. These foods absorb so quickly that insulin must spike repeatedly to keep blood glucose under control. Over time, the cells become increasingly resistant to insulin signals, forcing the body to release even more of the hormone. This cycle drives abdominal fat accumulation, disrupts hunger hormones, and sets the stage for prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. For older adults who already have slower glucose clearance, the impact can be dramatic. A diet heavy in crackers, sweetened cereals, pastries, flavored yogurts, fast food, or packaged snacks can push blood sugar levels into a dangerous zone surprisingly fast. Once insulin resistance becomes entrenched, reversing it is far more difficult for people over 50 than for younger individuals because the muscular and hormonal systems involved have already lost much of their flexibility. Cholesterol regulation also becomes far more fragile with age. As the liver's ability to process fats decreases, diets rich in ultra-processed foods overwhelm the system with unhealthy fats, hydrogenated oils, and additives that distort lipid metabolism. These foods tend to raise LDL cholesterol, the type that contributes to plaque formation, while reducing protective HDL levels. Worse, ultra-processed diets often include emulsifiers, artificial flavors, and preservatives that create oxidative stress in the liver, further impairing its capacity to maintain healthy cholesterol balance. The result is an accelerated buildup of arterial plaque, increased rigidity of blood vessels, and a heightened risk of heart attacks and strokes. Adults over 50 who regularly consume processed meats, packaged baked goods, fried convenience foods, or sugary beverages may experience a steep rise in cholesterol markers even if their body weight appears stable. The danger is silent but serious. Plaque can accumulate for years without symptoms, only revealing itself through a cardiovascular event that could have been preventable with cleaner dietary habits. Perhaps the most deeply damaging effect of ultra-processed diets in older adults is the chronic inflammation they trigger. Aging already brings a natural increase in inflammatory activity, a phenomenon known as inflammaging. When the diet is dominated by ultra-processed foods, this baseline inflammation is intensified by repeated glucose spikes, unhealthy fats, artificial additives, and the depletion of antioxidants and fiber. These foods disturb the gut microbiome, allowing pro-inflammatory compounds to leak into the bloodstream, where they accelerate tissue damage. Inflammation affects nearly every system in older adults. It worsens joint pain, deepens fatigue, accelerates cognitive decline, disrupts immune function, and increases the risk of autoimmune flare-ups. Chronic inflammation also makes it much harder for the body to recover from illness or injury. For adults over 50, a diet rich in ultra-processed foods does not simply add stress, it accelerates biological wear and tear, pushing the body into a state of persistent internal strain. Together, these metabolic effects create a dangerous picture: poorer insulin sensitivity, worsening cholesterol profiles, and intensified inflammation form a triad that rapidly increases the risk of chronic diseases. Cardiovascular disease, diabetes, fatty liver disease, hypertension, dementia, and some cancers all become more likely when ultra-processed foods play a major role in the diet. What makes this especially troubling is how subtle the decline can be. Older adults may feel relatively fine while these silent processes quietly progress, only recognizing the severity when symptoms become unavoidable. Ultra-processed diets are not benign conveniences for adults over 50. They are catalysts for accelerated metabolic deterioration. At an age when organs are more vulnerable, hormones are less adaptable, and repair processes are slower, these foods amplify weaknesses the body can no longer compensate for. The combination of impaired insulin response, disrupted lipid balance, and heightened inflammation forms a dangerous foundation for rapid health decline. Without intentional dietary change, ultra-processed foods can push older adults toward chronic illness far faster than they expect, undermining longevity, energy, mental clarity, and overall quality of life.